started. So item number 1, we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. Hendrick, call roll.
Williams?
Yes.
Absent. Mrs. Here.
Item number 3, adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Do you have any additions or corrections? It's already here. So we'll that name. Okay. Got it. Okay, so the amended agenda includes item 8.8, the treasurer approval.
Recommendation is to approve Ann Spence as the treasurer for the city schools beginning on November 1st, 2024 through July 31st, 2027.
Yep. Any other additions or corrections? Okay, Ms. Simmons?
Mr. Kismet?
Yes.
Mrs. Stewart? Yes. Dr. McBride? Yes. Mr. Williams?
Yes. All right, item number 4. We have a presentation.
We do. Mrs. Driscoll, the closely dean of students and runs the day-to-day operation of our preschool. Before Mrs. Driscoll started, I would just like to acknowledge that she has been with the district and at the preschool since it started. And over the last 2 years, the team at the preschool has done such an amazing job. 2 years ago, Mrs. Driscoll helped lead as the lead teacher that time with all of the staff's effort to the first ever in city schools history, a 5-star rating from Step Up to Quality, the highest rating we can earn. And then last year, that rating was confirmed and maintained. However, they moved from stars to levels, and so it is the gold level. So for 2 years in a row, under Mrs. Driscoll's leadership and help of the team, they've received the highest ranking their preschool can. So I appreciate her leadership and the team and all that they do.
Good evening. I'm Lindsay Distel, the Dean of Students. And this year, all of the students and the staff have had a great start to the beginning of the year. We've welcomed many new and returning families to Lincoln, which is always exciting. We currently have 120 students enrolled, and there are always going to be more students that have been enrolled throughout the school year. We have 5 classrooms, and each classroom runs a morning session and an afternoon session. This year, along with the creative curriculum and the handwriting without tears curriculum, the teachers are implementing the early pre-kindergarten Haggerty curriculum, which focuses on phonemic awareness. And last year we used a different level of Haggerty, and this year the teachers are finding out that using this level, it actually is more developmentally appropriate for our kiddos. So that's always a positive to hear. And also the teachers are gathering data so that they can track the progress that the students are making. Also at Lincoln, we are fully implementing PBIS. That's quite been a tour to get that all up and running, but we are implementing that, and the students are earning PAX tickets for the positive behaviors that they are showing. Today was a very exciting day. So we had our annual fall festival, and so the kiddos always love this because the family members get to come into the school and they get to run a station. And so the students engaged in bobbing for apples using a ladle. They got to make Applejack cereal necklaces. They got to do apple stamping and just many other developmentally appropriate activities that are really fun for the station for the kids to move through the stations. We do have some upcoming school-wide events that we're looking forward to. In October, Tiffin Fire and Rescue will be coming to Lincoln to talk to the kiddos about fire safety. And of course, the most important part for the preschooler to see in the fire truck. So we're looking forward to that as well. Also in October, we will be celebrating Grandparents' Day or Special Person Day. And so this is when grandparents or a special family member can come in and complete an art activity with the kiddos and see them in their learning environment. And lastly, in November, which we're really excited about, we'll have the cosmetology students from Sentinel bring their salon to us. And so they're going to be providing salon services to pamper us for Kindness Day with hand and arm massages and fingernail decals and face painting and things like that. And just with all of that being said, I just want to say that Lincoln Pre-K's team is, we're very team oriented, and we're here to support the students as they continue to learn and grow. I'm very proud to be a part of that team. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's great.
You're welcome.
So we did have an opportunity to visit Lincoln a week and a half ago. Sound all right?
All right.
I'm providing events separately. Yeah, okay. Appreciate the you having us, right? It was good to see the building operating during the day, students there, engaged with the staff a little bit. I don't know if anybody had any comments or wanted to discuss that at all here. We can discuss it at the end, but it seems topical right now.
It's a compliment and a question. What we saw and from what I know you're doing and from the report card, obviously you and your staff are doing a wonderful job. How do we, and maybe there are things, this may be a dumb question, but I know that it was stated that there are a lot of kids coming into Washington without preschool experience. So how do we get to these kids? I guess is a question to, not necessarily for Mrs. Distel, but for all of us, to get them in there and give those kids that preschool experience so that they're better prepared for kindergarten.
So I think over the last 2 years that I've been in the district, that's been a topic of discussion with expanding preschool. I know that Mrs. Distel and the team would love to expand and offer more opportunities. And I think there's some things that we can do in advertising. I think we can go out and reach more families. Ultimately, it also it's a decision that will impact the district. There's also a cost to expanding. So we have to look at how do we offer that expansion when we know it's desperately needed, but how is it that we can also fund that? So funding is a little bit different for the preschool since it's not governed completely by the Department of Education workforce. And we know that we have some challenges in order to be able to make that financially feasible. I think once we're able to do that, we have the capacity, and Mrs. Distel has planned over the next several years to really be able to turn Lincoln, the building as itself, into a preschool. But I think that has to be part of our strategic plan, looking at not only what are the resources that are needed financially, but also looking at teaching staff, make sure we're able to find an appropriately licensed teacher along with their professional, all the different curricular resources and furniture and whatnot that we'll need to expand.
Speaking of expanding preschool, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
There's a number of other things that we do at the Lincoln building that isn't preschool related. I don't know if you could mention what some of those things are.
So we have a number of district staff that use the Lincoln building for their offices. So our special education department is based out of there. That includes Molly Armstrong, who's our assistant student services director, our school sites, our site assistants, academic assessor. We have our whole child director, our attendance advocate, all housed out of Lincoln. We also rent a space to looking at expanding the preschool, part of that is also there. We know we are somewhat limited in the district with physical space. And so being able to take those classrooms and turn them into functioning classrooms, students will have to find the appropriate space for those offices as well.
And I was just going to add, I know it's obviously we would like to have this, maybe kids who aren't getting a preschool experience in our preschool. But even in the meantime, if we don't have the space, it's still benefits and behooves us, in my opinion, to do or brainstorm, I think, what we can to get kids into preschool, period, in the long run. You know, that's, and those are the prime years, 3 to 6, a lot of things, especially literacy. So, of course, we'd rather have you have that, but I think we have to be thinking of how are we reaching our future students, period, and get them into some of this.
And so you mentioned literacy. One of the things that Mrs. Driscoll and the team is taking on is we're embracing the Dolly Parker Foundation as well, because again, that starts at age 0. And while it's not preschool, it is enriching literacy and having students and families receive books for that time period. So with the help of Ann Yates, who's heavily involved, Mrs. Distel, Mrs. Tewitt is heavily involved in monitoring and helping spread the word. So I think we have to continue the community outreach, even in Lincoln or in any preschool, of what resources are available to start that early literacy process.
So one of my questions, sorry, we talk about expanding it, but are we at capacity for it?
I'm going to defer to Mrs. Distel. Are we at capacity and within ratio?
Yeah.
So we're full current.
No, we're not full. We can take up to like 150, and right now I'm at 120.
So 150 is our cap.
Yeah.
Currently, as the building as it is.
With the
With
building
the
as it
staff
is,
we have.
with the staff. And also, I don't know, Mrs. Would you please talk a little bit about ratio and what that all means with the 150, please?
So for the classroom,
My bad. There you go.
so for the preschool classrooms that we have in Lincoln, they're all integrated preschool classrooms. So we can have up to 16 students in each class session. We have to watch our ratio. We have to have 8 typical students and then 8 IEP students to make that complete 16. But since our classrooms aren't full right now, we have to make sure that we have more typical students to students that are on IEPs. So you have to hold the openings for those students that come through PBA, which are play-based assessments, and that's where we're screening kiddos and we're looking at all developmental areas to see if we need to move forward with an evaluation. So currently we're not at our max. You just need to leave kind of some openings because kids are always coming in, and we have early intervention kids that turn 3 throughout the school year, and they will transition in, and so you have to be ready to take them as well.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Distel. It was a pleasure to be out there. We appreciate you allowing us to perhaps further day. So, okay, anything else on Lincoln? Okay, move on to item number 5, superintendent's reports and recommendations. No.
I would like to just touch on 2 quick things. One is the local report card, which was just recently released. At the district, we received 3 stars, which means we did meet state standards. However, there are some real highlights and some things I'd like to just point out quickly. We had Noble Elementary who received 4.5 out of 5 stars. Proud Elementary received 3.5 stars out of 5. And we are seeing improvement in almost all of our schools. And we're also seeing in some of our subcategories and specialty areas such as gifted. So only 6 school districts in the state actually met the standard for gifted. We missed it by 0.2. So while we didn't meet that standard, we're showing steady improvement towards meeting that standard. Additionally, while we know that the Noble and Proud staff are doing such an amazing job, I don't want to forget that this takes an entire team effort, right? So Washington is preparing kids to go to Proud, Proud's preparing to go to Noble. And so, as Mrs. Disnell really pointed out, we're a team, and we need to celebrate all of our successes and understand that this is an entire district staff effort. It's not just our teaching staff, it's our paraprofs, it's our transportation. Everybody that touches our children have an impact on what we do and their outcomes. And so we're not where we want to be. We met standards. Our goal is to get to 5, and I believe that we have the staff and the community to do so. Our job is to make sure that we put the supports in place and have a conducive learning environment in order to see them grow to that.
I know the report card came out
skill.
A little over, I think it was a little over 13.
Okay, so I wouldn't expect that you had much opportunity to talk with the entire district yet, leadership team to figure out where are we, do you have any preliminary thoughts on where we're going to maybe focus on improving some of those scores, right? Understanding that there's a lot of scores, a lot of data points, and trying to improve all of them, you'll probably fall short on all of them because you're spread yourself thin. So is there any areas of focus that have been discussed even preliminarily?
There have, right? And so we're addressing, I think, two of the big ones right now. They're in our executive plan for the next 2 years in our cohort of looking at district goals. One of them is increasing our student attendance, right? We can have great effective instruction, but we need to make sure our students are here to access that instruction. And the second one is looking at explicit direct instruction, right? That is the most evidence-based sound practice for helping students learn new content area. So all of our teams, led by Michelle and Laura Bryan, we have assistance from the ESC. We're providing support in our buildings to our teachers, to our administrators in order to focus on those. I think additionally, we need to break down some more of that data, but our focus has to be both on early literacy and also math, right? We talk a lot and focus a lot about early literacy, and it is integral and important. However, if you look at the history of Tiffin City Schools over at least the last 5 years, we need to focus on math as much as we do anything else. If you look at what our one key strategy back to explicit direct instruction, that can be used across the continuum. It can be used in any content area plus our specialty area. It's just an effective way of a gradual release model of teaching content. As it looks into some of those subcategories, when we talk about value added and gap closing, those are the things we need a little bit more time to break down to identify where we really need to focus some of our other efforts. And again, I would hope to have that for the next 2 months. Secondly, I just want to point out a couple of things. One, this is homecoming week, and it's a great, exciting time for our students, especially at Columbia High School. And if you follow our social media, Michelle too is doing a great job of making sure we're getting everything communicated out of what's going on, highlighting the court. But additionally, it's a great opportunity for our community. We're going to have people come back to Tiffin and celebrate. So while we're focusing on celebrating Friday night football game, really it's an opportunity for us to celebrate the community and all of our stakeholders. So we're really excited about the upcoming weekend and excited about having people come back and see all the great things that are going on in Tiffin. I wanted to also follow up. I believe it was in the August board meeting, the board approved a copier contract with Perry Protech, which was a switch for us. Mr. Strang and his team are working really hard with Perry and their staff, and copier printer installation will begin at the end of next week. So the plan is outlined. Mr. Strang, if you have more questions, can identify that, but I believe it's going to start next Friday, correct? So that's exciting too. Again, we talked about some of our technology needs. This is going to help save a little money for the district, but also I think upgrade our technology when it comes to those things. So I want to make sure we point that out. There's also going to be availability of training videos. They will have somebody on staff during the day to help train them. They're going to put out some other training materials to assist staff in that transition. So I'm excited about that. And then I was able to meet Mr. Beeston today, and we're just very proud of our fall sports clubs and activities. We have a lot of clubs that are doing well. I think the boys tennis team secured their third SBC title in a row, which is a school record. Our girls are in second place. And so while we focus on academics, we also have a well-rounded group of student athletes who are succeeding on and off the field. And I congratulate all of our students and coaches for their efforts as well. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from anybody here? Item number 6, opportunity for the public to address the board. Normally I would read the entire paragraph, but there is no one in attendance this evening, so I'm going to skip reading that. And so we just acknowledge there's no one in attendance, so we should not expect any public comment. All right. Item number 7, the consent agenda. A motion.
Second.
Okay, I'll briefly read through the topic headings here. We have minutes from 7 meetings. I'm going to get this cleaned up a little bit in the future where we're not approving meetings from months to pass, I think the policy change regarding this as well, correct?
Correct, you will be hopefully approving the policy change in just a few minutes, that there's a change in the regulation which says that all minutes have to be approved at the next succeeding meeting. Currently, the way it's written in the board policy is the next regular meeting. So what you will see is that now on every next succeeding meeting, we will make sure the minutes are there. So the meeting from this past Tuesday are there for this next succeeding. So we're trying to clean up the process, make sure we follow the regulations and policy, but also make sure that the board and community have access to information as quickly as possible.
Okay. 7.2 is the treasurer's report. 7.3 is resignations. 7.4 is leave of absence. 7.5 is employee professional staff for 24 through 25. 7.6 is the employee support staff for 24 to 25. 7.7 is contract amendments. 7.8 is donations and grants. We've got, some quiz bowl and some National Senior Foundation, Tiffin Break Wheel, and Tiffin Elementary PTO. Thank you for those donations and grants. 7.9 is stipends. And that's it. So that is all of the consent agenda. Any discussion or questions or comments?
I just had a question on stipends. Where are those funds, are those general operating funds or those grant related to pay the stipends?
Both, it depends on the individual stipend. Additionally, there's also science and reading included, which will come out of general fund, but is to be reimbursed by the state as well. So what we try to do, and Mrs. Good does a great job of managing our federal programs, is we allocate, try to use as much of our federal grant monies as possible for the general fund, but then there are some times where we can't always cover things through grants, so we do other extraneous trainings that we know are going to help ourselves and our staff and have it come out of the general fund.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Ms. Hick?
Dr. McBride?
Yes.
That's
Mrs. Steffen?
Yes.
Mr.
Yes. Okay, item 8.1, through the Home Partners of Western Ohio MOU.
This is a continuation of offering the service through parent permission for both dental and vision services. It is by parent permission only and is at no cost to the district. We have partners that will come onto school property, give parent permission, and be able to provide services.
This is an excellent program. It's great for our kids to have this opportunity.
Didn't we already fill out the forms as parents? It's a different one? Okay, so I should need I'm talking about the form as a parent that I filled out earlier this year. Didn't I already, as a parent, approve this?
Perhaps that this is the new
new
entity, so we would not have had, we would not given these.
Okay.
permission yet, because they haven't been
Okay, I just want to make sure that we're
correct.
getting the stuff approved.
Correct, but we had another one that is very similar.
Okay.
This is another entity to provide services, so you would not fill out any parent permission for this company.
Okay.
So just for clarification, as it relates to this, that any entities that we have coming onto campus working with our students, they're all required to have background checks prior to working with the students, correct?
They are per their employees. They're not held to the same standard. We do not. That would be a possibility. I think that what we do is try and ensure safety within our current buildings. We have control over being able to do certain things to graph our system and that. But this is a parent permission in order to access. So part of that is on, yes, we monitor what's going on. We have staff walking. They're not held to the same standards as what our staff is to unless that company has a policy that says they are.
Yeah, I mean, I do contract work, right, and we're always held to the standard of where it will go and not be company that I contract for, so that's a good question, Dr. McBride. I never really thought about it.
So I was thinking, I also would say, okay, we're gonna go into or the districts, and I'm required.
In building.
In buildings, right? Anybody that comes into our buildings is a service provider, yes, but I don't believe that we have a policy that requires us to do the same for somebody not in our building that parents are releasing. There's no, it is correct.
Well, that feels like our building.
It's
on school grounds.
It's on school grounds. But if a parent would come onto school grounds to pick up their child in the loop line, we don't do background checks.
So when the parent signs, it's gonna get levels to the company.
Correct. It is not about that, really.
Hey, Dr. McBride, let me interrupt. So, is this something we should hold for discussion?
Yeah, let's do the words.
Okay. I think it's a good discussion. I just don't want to. All right. Okay.
I'm sorry, let's hear it.
Well, if you're not comfortable with it, I would encourage you to go appropriately. Right? That's what we're supposed to do, right? So then we're on, if you're not comfortable with it, you'd be on record as being not comfortable with it. That's appropriate. That's our job. Yeah. Okay. All right. Any other discussion or comments? Okay. Yes, sir.
Mrs. Steph?
Yes.
Mr. Prescott?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes. All right, item 8.2, approve benchmark behavioral health tuition agreement.
So this contract,
So moved.
Second.
this contract allows for educational services to be provided for a student who is placed out of the district, but we are financially responsible for. This particular case is for a student who needs skill intensive services and is actually placed out of state. But the biological mom decides to take it, we're still financially responsible. I do want to point out that we only pay for the educational services, not the residential services.
And we are paid for 244 days as opposed to 180.
Correct. The educational program, the state that he's at, and it also encompasses extended school year services, which due to the absences in all of the movement that has been involved in this student's life last couple of years, we provide that welfare SY service. So instead of doing two contracts, knowing that he qualifies under special ed law for extended school year services in circumstances, this is one contract that covers all that, so you won't see an excess cost like some of our students who are placed locally in other facilities.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or discussion? Senator?
Mr. Prescott?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Dr. McBride?
Yes.
Mrs. Steph?
Yes.
Okay, item 8.3, approve gymnastics as a club sport. Second.
So approving this just recognizes gymnastics as a club. This is a practice that historically the district has engaged in when we don't have a sport that's sponsored by the HSAA. So students will participate as a club in gymnastics through the YMCA, but this allows them to then represent by wearing different Colombian colors and logos. Typically speaking, clubs have operated for 2 years. If they're successful, then it's evaluated and brought to the board to make the determination if it's to be recognized as a full sport under HSA guidelines. Again, this is being done at no cost to the district.
Discussion. Okay. Senator?
Dr. McBride?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mrs. Steph?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Item 8.4, job description for service technologist. So,
Second.
Mr. Nadell.
We had a departure from our tech department in late July, And so since then, Mr. Strang, Mr. Bode, Mr. DeBoer have really tried to look at what are our technology needs. And in doing so, wanted to make some changes to that job description so that we were hiring somebody with the skills and the asset that we believe we need to fulfill what is needed in that department. So this is just updating and changing that job description under the guidance of, again, Mr. Strang, Mr. Bode.
So we continue on. Go ahead.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Kisner?
Yes.
Dr. Eckert?
Yes.
Mrs. Stern?
Yes.
In case anybody's wondering, the names for the votes aren't on these line items, so she's trying to, curiously writing the names to try to catch up. Sorry. Item 8.5, Honeywell Building Performance Service Agreement.
This is a continuation of a service agreement for the monitoring and maintenance of our boilers. So we have most of our buildings except TMS that operate under boilers. So we've been with Honeywell for a period of time and they've helped us out in this situation.
Middle school doesn't, of course.
Oh, it does. They're not included in this contract. So it may be that they're updated.
There's something about this.
Right. But I just want to make sure we're not saying publicly that we definitely do not.
We are, this is not the same, they're not handled the same as all of our other.
We can defer here.
Middle school is monitored by the
Okay.
on all our other buildings around the district.
Is there a reason?
I believe there was some issue with the updating down here that wasn't being done by Honeywell. We had that with Honeywell.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, there are boilers too.
I may not have been up for it. I know that it's a bit of a unique system here.
It's a bit, and believe we got everything streamlined on pretty well. There are barriers. I don't remember all the details as to what the barriers were.
Okay.
Barriers to getting this particular money shifted over to that.
Okay.
The technology, the system, the money.
But there is a contract for someone to be the monitoring of these boilers. Here, it's just not through Honeywell.
It's not Honeywell.
Okay, that's
Built
fine.
like this.
That's fine. I just want to make sure it wasn't accidentally. We have a lot of buildings. Okay.
As I recall, Honeywell is monitoring our boilers from Georgia, is that correct? Correct. That's ironic. They go to Georgia to figure out whether we need heat or not. Gee.
Any other questions or comments? Okay.
Dr. McBride?
Yes.
Mrs. Stern?
Yes.
Mr. Kisner?
Yes.
Yes. All right. 8.6, the PT Services Agreement for Athletic Training Services.
So moved.
So we've been without a full-time athletic trainer. We've had a contract or two. Finding athletic trainers is becoming more and more challenging. I want to thank Mark Simodi and his team for helping us get coverage in the meantime while we went through this process. Due to the financial amount, we had to do a request for proposals in order to secure. And again, Mark Simodi submitted a proposal and was accepted. So this is approving his contract so that we want a full-time athletic trainer. Moving forward, I'd also like to note that it is a one-year contract with flexibility for the district in order to do what's best for them moving forward. So Mark and his team did a great job, and now we're going to be able to soon have Dylan on staff full-time serving our athletic training needs.
I know we made a change earlier to a different group. There was a significant cost savings. I think we found ourselves without a trainer. Could you just give some insight into the cost differences here? Is it more or less similar?
It is slightly more, but I also prefer it for service.
Okay.
So we had one originally at Nationwide,
Yeah.
and they upped that from last year, $40,000 or so.
Yes.
Mr. Beeston worked real hard, right, was able to secure another contract, however, they were not able to vote a trainer after this contract. So we've been getting some help, and then we did this RFP. So athletic training is not all I think. this is a one-year deal that is probably a little bit more expensive, but I also think we're gonna have, we're not sharing this trainer with anybody. I think we're gonna have a really good service, and we're gonna use the rest of this year to determine what is the best course of action, both for serving our students, but also financially over the course of the next 3 to 5 years with this training.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments?
Excited to helps your students.
Okay, Ms. Sarah?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. 8.7, approve updated board policies.
We're waiting.
I don't know if we have to have a motion first.
So,
Second. Yep. Mr. Dedette?
The request and recommendation is to waive the first reading. We're working with the Ohio School Board Association to do a full policy review. As we've started and are in the middle of this process, there have been some new regulations, some new changes. So in August, there were some policies that needed board approval at the recommendation of OSBA immediately in order for the district board to be in compliance. We had our second full review of a third of the policies, and these 3 policies, notification meetings, minutes, and district records, are all policies in which OSBA is requesting, recommending that we waive the first reading again in order to get these in place and compliant.
Just a note, we've been providing these well in advance, so waiving them should not be a problem. Okay, any comments or questions about these? I know we discussed one of them earlier in the meeting. Okay, Ms. Sarah?
Dr. McBride?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Mrs. Stephen? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, item 8.8, this one's kind of exciting, trigger approval.
oh,
Second. All right, I'm gonna take this one. No.
Okay, but I'd just like to say we're very excited.
All right, so this one is to approve Ann Spence. We have here with us this evening. I don't know if you want to come over here, so if you want camera. Ann Spence is the treasurer for Tiverton City Schools beginning November 1st, 2024 through July 31st, 2027. So we haven't voted yet, but welcome, very excited to have you aboard. Just if anybody doesn't want to do the math on this one, it's roughly a 2-year, 9-month contract coming in the middle of the year. It's a weird number, but that's about what it is. So, all right, welcome. And Tuesday for the final interviews. So the second time we had a chance to speak to you, give a presentation about your observations of our 5-year forecast, and then we had some discussions about layman's terms around the village. So that was exciting.
well, and that whole list of minutes that folks saw at the beginning, a lot of those are meetings and doing the trigger research and doing an extensive search, keeping that time open. We're excited to have you on board, and I think you did a really great.
We don't have anybody here from K-12 this evening, but they like to thank them for their help in getting this done on, seems like a very, very short time frame this time. It did not drag out at all. So Dee was, she made sure we had the meeting scheduled and got things done. I think I talked to Dee several times a week to make sure that everything was in line for those meetings that were coming up, including making sure Mr. Nadeau orders for us.
And to be fair, Mr. Perez was present for all of the interviewing process. It was prearranged, we didn't do it not.
So we got a little comment from him once we could vote. So. Full set of strengths. Okay. So we'll vote here real quick for the. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Ms. Henry?
Dr. McBride?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Mrs. Stephen?
Yes.
Yes.
And I will say Mr. Perez is not here. He cannot vote. So he did not indicate if he would vote yes or no, but he had indicated in the meeting we had on Tuesday that he was fully in support of the direction. So that's not a vote. He's not allowed to vote, but just want to make sure that his comment was heard.
It's good to know that she was well experienced and well respected and overall support like.
We didn't ask you to prepare anything, but I don't know if you wanted to. You don't have to. But you're from Philly, right? Oh. Assistant treasurer, right? All right, I won't ask any more questions. All right, thank you. It's good to report. Okay, so item number 9, board discussion. So I made 2 notes here of things we may want to discuss. I think we may want to get back to some of the comments from Dr. McBride, which I think were interesting. I think we need to dig into a little bit here.
And I recognize that it's nuanced. Like anybody that's coming into our district, right? So our teachers, our staff, our admins, volunteers, anybody that's coming into our district, we have policy and requirements that they need to be back.
So if you volunteer, you come to the background check, depending on volunteer rates, some of those birthdays, they go through the Raptor system. If you are employed or volunteering as a coach, you're going to be long-term in the building, then you are doing the FDIC staff background check that all licensed do. Historically, when we've had MOUs like this, we have not asked that they obtain the same type of background check as what our teachers, parapros, coaches, administrators go through.
It is a little surprising that they do. We know that they do or don't do background checks, or are we just saying we're not requiring that they do? Because they very well could be doing background checks if they engage in this activity on a regular basis. They could be doing it, and we just don't.
I cannot guarantee if they're doing it to the level regular. So what we have, again, let's look at teaching services, right? So a third-party vendor that comes into our schools, provides services in our schools, they go through the same background checks, but a lot of them are also licensed. They're licensed PT, so it's requirements go through FDIC. If we have parent volunteers come in, we have a watch log program, they go through the Raptor system to do a quick background check, not the same system as what our staff or volunteer coaches go through.
And for interviews like this, where it's our parking lot.
So our parking lot's a little different. I would say that we don't require parents or custodians or people who are listed in blue line to have background checks or go through the Raptor
They're
system.
not providing services to.
But they're accessing our children. So I'm not arguing, I'm just saying, right? I think that if this is something that we want to make a standardized process, we would have to, and I don't want it to come out of the group that's being discussed tonight. If they were treated as historically others were treated with the same MOU. So I want to make sure it's clear that we're not signaling this particular agency.
And that's part of the reason why I wanted to refer to this, that we didn't impact.
I think that would be unfair, but I think to look at how we do our different groups, whether you're a volunteer, short-term, long-term, whether you're coming into our buildings as a third-party vendor. Again, we have mental health providers that come in to go through a background check. What I would say is I don't think there is a systematic approach to say that all of these people of access, our buildings have the same background check that is required of our licensed staff. That makes sense.
Do have a rapid system for just visitors waiting,
So our raptor system. So for example, Safety City,
yeah,
we had a bunch of volunteers come in, right? They had to go through the raptor system to present to the state will ID them, and it goes through the system to identify. That's not the same level as what an FBI
Right.
background.
but we could utilize the rapid system. We do have people, I assume it's a bus or something that comes up to in the parking lot that students go into.
I believe so.
So like a mobile kind of thing, right? So is it a possibility that when we do those things, this is
Outside of
something,
anything else, they could go through the rapid.
right, so we could get some level of
It is.
knowledge.
And go ahead.
Yeah, I think they're like my concern, and absolutely not on this, it is with the question of this. It's not on this at all, I want that very clear. But I think that, like I have like sections of the BCI, or, you know, that's a requirement. But I think I am given pause at the assumption of, when they go through their employment elsewhere.
We're making the assumption that they have had a background check.
That any entity that we are releasing our students to in these way or working with our students is doing it at some level. I think that is a worrisome assumption.
So I'm going to jump in before you. So we could work to establish a baseline check, if it's Bradford, let's say Bradford, right? We could work as a district to establish, if you're an individual engaging with students, there's a minimum check we're going to do, and if it's Bradford, then that's where it is, right?
Yes, I do believe that. I think some of that assumption is made on those medical building where they all have licenses of some sort of work practice, so there's some minimal expectation that they continue to have background checks. I do not understand that that level is the same as FBI and PCI. And I think additionally, one of the things that I think as we develop this needs to be taken into consideration is that parents are giving permission for their children to be released to this entity. So while I think we have our due diligence that we need to do, I think we need to be able to say this is what we're doing, this is why we're doing it, how effective. Because we may release somebody who's on an emergency medical form, not that parent is so listed, and we don't necessarily use anything, so we want a raptor system or stuff like that. So I think it opens up an evaluation of what we do and how we allow to it. I'm sorry.
I recognize that parents always have to decide if this is allow their students figure out or what have you. I think if I'm thinking of me as a parent, if I'm thinking of me getting that form and my kid's older, she wants a kid to go out to the bus and get their eyes checked or vision checked or teeth checked or whatever. I think my assumption as a parent is that it is with all that same due diligence of anybody else that's working with my student. So if that is not the case, I think that also needs to be made. Although I don't think that we should operate on that assumption. I think that we should just run with the practice. That makes sense?
It does.
Yes, parents can release, they know what they're releasing.
Versus if someone's listening to final forms, the parent knows who they're releasing it to, right?
Correct.
Versus someone, an entity showing up with a group of individuals, I'm releasing to the entity, but I don't know who I'm releasing it to. So it's a little bit different. So they just need to establish it.
It's an outside source.
It is,
It's
in the
not
MOU,
part of the-
yeah, our MOU was saying that we're allowing them to come on, but it's their responsibility and the parent's responsibility in order to come up with this agreement and sign off the fact that their children are being released
So we,
for that service.
We don't know for sure what.
They don't, and
Yeah.
quite honestly, this is the second time we did one, and I don't know if there's differences between those providers. Correct? They're not, again, this is not about this entity.
Correct.
And so, the MOU was written in a way that's reviewed by, by both sides. It says this is what it is, but again, if we want to go above and beyond that, it's going to be a change in our historical practice, which I think we then need to set. why we're doing this, who we're doing it to, because it's gonna affect, if we do that, we should be doing it, like you said, for any volunteer. We should go through what we.
And I'm gonna jump in, I'm gonna interrupt you. As soon as we, and I've said this before, at that podium with, when the Hall of Fame thing came up, if our initial reaction is that the lawyers said it was okay, that doesn't mean we shouldn't do more. So, and I think that's the recommendation, we look at, is there something we should be doing actively as a district as to, as opposed to passively saying, the lawyers didn't find any problems.
Correct.
That, I don't ever want that to be said in court.
Well, I think I want to make that statement to understand that we have made sure that we're doing our due diligence.
Yes.
And this is a change in historic
Yeah.
practice. We've done this for the last couple of years with different entities.
Yep.
That's the only thing I want to make sure we haven't just not
Yep.
haphazardly, at least have some sort of level of review to make sure.
Sure. Sure, I think this is just a recognition that there's probably one more step we could be doing after anything we bring in to ensure the safety of our students.
I think my hackle was raised, and that statement that Justin was made, which is that just because we have done it, doesn't mean it's okay.
Absolutely.
And I am just not comfortable with, I think at a legal level, we go, oh, it's not a release law. But we release them to them and do our best diligence on whatever them is and whatever service is being provided to make sure that all of our students are safe. I'm curious about exploring how we do that.
For multiple entities in multiple different situations, though, I think it's the key. Because if we're going to do it, we might make sure we're doing it in all different layers, not just for employee or a service.
I agree. Yeah, 100%.
It's for entertaining purposes.
No, I think it's a good catch, right? Because we don't think about this a lot of times.
We don't think about it until something.
Until that happens, right? So,
You'll make it so difficult that no bill cleaner do anything. I believe in protecting kids, but you know what? If somebody's working on my kid's mouth, they've got a license to do that. Or we're not bringing somebody that's selling pencils on the curb, clean somebody's mouth. We don't do that.
it's free to use Rapid, right? I mean, Rapid is free, but we run one ID or 1,000 IDs through it.
I would have to check on that.
Yeah.
Is it one versus
We can release money.
as many as we want?
So,
Yes.
and we're not bringing 1,000 people in, which would irritate the secretaries.
Yeah.
So,
Correct.
you have not made an understatement.
Well,
So,
to be fair, it's true, the things that can have you as disqualified from being a counselor or a teacher working with children are not the same things that would have you disqualified from getting a medical license.
True.
and if we can take one extra step to, for ourselves to know that we protected the students, and it's free and it doesn't really consume, it'll consume time, don't get me wrong, I mean, it takes a minute to print out that metal sticker, but if we can do that, we've got a little bit of peace of mind, rather than being in court saying, well, we signed a legal documents, we're not liable. Well,
Mr. Kismet, to push back on it, if the extra step that we add is you have to bring your ID and run it through this machine, which is the same one as our parents and our volunteers, that keeps you from coming into my district, okay.
And I will say, I agree with what you're saying, and I think it's worth taking the next step, but I also see what you were saying, Ted, we were talking earlier, I was thinking, I volunteered when my kids were there, I still volunteered as a reading person when my kids were at Crowd for years, and I probably ran into that, but I never did anything further. If you start going to where you get to PCI checks or whatever for volunteers, we won't get volunteers. You know, they cost money, you gotta go down and get your fingerprint clear, you know, there is a line there of, we need to be safe, but
I remember all my years being in the district, and I became a volunteer coach. It cost me $70 or $80 to volunteer. And I've been in the district for 35 years. So, I want kids to be safe, don't get me wrong. But you reach a point where you don't have anybody doing anything. Or they'll have to be paid for it. I don't believe that you can pay for it either.
but if it's about the system we already use for visitors in the building. We're simply saying, extend the bubble to the parking lot, and anybody who comes into the
I'm not
parking
saying
lot.
I hear that, I was saying I also see where it's coming from, that it
Yeah.
it can become, we have grandparents who come in and read every week.
Yeah.
Where everyone, it's
Well-
just a thing, I'm just saying, I get what you're saying, and I
It'll
think
be
what we're
interesting.
talking about is reviewing.
It'll be nice to wear a school photographers come in.
Run the ID through the record system. I'm surprised we're not already doing that, because they come into the building.
I would hope that we follow policy. I would hope we follow policy.
With that.
Okay,
Do you have another?
I did. I made a note. I didn't remember what it meant. We're talking about the district score report. The last time we talked about this, we had started a discussion about where do we want to be, and I think we overcomplicated it. We talked about where do we want to be relative to other schools in the SBC, to other schools in the state of Ohio, to other schools with similar size, et cetera, et cetera. And I think we overcomplicated that discussion to such a degree we never got to the answer. So I think the report card just came out. Now it's probably getting time to discuss where do we expect our district to be. Not where do we want us to be, but as the board, we get to say where we expect us to be. Right? Do we want to be, where do we want to be relative to other districts of the same size in the state, to overall state, or do we just care about the schools that are near us? Because that's where people are actually making active decisions about where to send the school. My thought would be, we simply focus on where do we rank relative to some of our neighboring districts.
I would like to be higher than currently. I'd like to move the needle. Because I don't know that some of those are where we want them to be, or they all have, I think all of them, the thing I'm looking at, they all had room for growth.
They do.
Then wouldn't we be measuring to spark progress?
What do you mean?
I don't know that I don't know, I recognize that the districts around us are where families make decisions about whether they're going to go to or open enroll in or out. I get that. But are they our competition? Or is it, are we serving our students? And so if people are asking where I want to be the best. I want us to be at 5s across the board. Right now, we're at 3.5. I would like next year for us to be at 4. Sure, I would like the year after that for us to be at 4.5. Irregardless of what the districts around us do. If they go down, I don't care. I want us to keep gradually moving up.
Right now, we've got room for improvement.
If all the districts around us are at 3 and we're at 2.5, that doesn't mean I don't look forever.
I understand.
So I guess that's my thought. If we're at 4.5, I want to be at 5. If we're at 3, I want to be at 2.5 next year. The year after that, I want to be at 2.
I guess I disagree because it's a moving target constantly by the state of Ohio. So I want to know where we compare with districts in our area. I want to know where we compare in the SBC. I want to know where we compare with comparable districts that have comparable populations, comparable economic situations. I want to know that. And I want to agree that I want to keep improving. But because that's a moving scale every year, I want to see how we compare to these other districts with that moving scale.
I think we want to, I think my goal is just, I don't care where people are. I want to know where we compare. Oh, no, yeah, these are pretty now. Yeah, that was kind of what I was just saying.
My only objection is that we don't compare well to the China school right now. Right? We're not feeding them right now to most of the surrounding districts.
And that,
We are behind.
and that we start.
That's why I'm saying I don't necessarily care about the rest of the year. I don't care about the money.
But if they're beating us, I do.
Well, but realistically, if family in a nearby community is not deciding
I think it's important to see, like, that moving target, like, all of the districts score similar to us, a couple of us, demographics, they're operating in similar spaces. That lets us know that they're facing similar barriers to school. It gives me an explanation that doesn't give me a target. My target is still to do that.
You can have a target independent of who you're comparing yourself to. We can still be scoring higher than, we can still be the number one school in Ohio, and we can still say, how can we improve? That's the mantra of continuous improvement.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean we can't do that and say, how would we rank against nearby schools? We can do both.
And I think they're interesting data points. They're not objectives.
But we can do both, right? And there are schools we can go to, and when they are, we can go to them and understand what they're doing differently than us. Right, so there's a reason to have an entity to compare yourself against, independent of how you're currently scoring relative.
Yes.
So I think we have to do both.
In my opinion, we do that. And I think we have to be realistic. There's schools that are much different from us in demographics. And so comparing maybe those schools to us won't give them, in fact, in my opinion, the information we want is if you're scoring better, I need to know what you're doing. I need to know that what you're doing can be translated into our district, right? So we have to set a target of a 5 because that's the target right now we're going for. Get there and focus on ourselves. Working, but also make sure it's working in a similar resource school district so it can be transferable here. Does that make sense? Yes. So I think there's value. I think we need to concentrate ourselves and set our own goals for our own continued improvement, but use some data points to say, this is what's working in a school with similar resources, similar demographics. Are they doing what we're doing, or do we need to maybe investigate that and look at changing what we're doing because there certainly should be a reason why they're getting results and we're not. So you use it as a way of measuring what we're doing and comparing those. But again, I do think it has to be with the realistic transfer.
I do that. Anything else? Okay. Item number 10, there's nothing on the agenda for executive session this evening, so we'll move to item number 12, adjournment.
Second.
Senator.
Yes.
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 Yes. All right, our next regularly scheduled meeting is October 28th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. in the Tiffin Middle School cafeteria, preceded by the work session at 5:45 as usual. Thanks, everybody.